What's up, guys? Chris Hughes here with Immortal Strength, and today we're going to talk about the function of the core, the real function of the core, and how to develop a strong, sexy midsection that will not only look good, but make everyday life, including in the gym, easier. Now, I'm just going to come out and say it. If you've been spending your time in the gym doing crunches and hanging leg raises, you've been wasting your time, and here's why. If we look at the function of the core is to protect and stabilize the spine while your extremities are in motion or while under external load. So with that being said, picture a sprinter, right? They're running back and forth with their arms and their legs are also doing the cycling. There's so much rotational force going on that they should be ripping themselves in half with the amount of, just by spinning around, but they're not. Their core is strong and stable like a pillar, and it allows more fluid, functional movement to come out in the process because of that. And let's be honest, what sprinters don't, if you look at the world class, like Olympic level sprinters, they are some of the most shredded athletes you'll ever see. So there's 4 different types of classifications of movement that the core is capable of. It's flexion, so those are like your sit-ups where your ribs are being pulled down. You have extension, when your hips move forward, your lower back rounds, or your rib cage flares. That's called extension. Then there's rotation, which is pretty self-explanatory. And then there's lateral flexion. That's the side-to-side bending. Now, those are all great, and they have their place, obviously. Any baseball thrower, any combat sport, they need to rotate at the core, right? Those movements are necessary, but to truly develop a strong core, you need to resist those movements, not create them. So I'm talking about resisting, like anti-movement patterns, anti-rotation, anti-lateral flexion, anti-flexion, and anti-extension. A lot of big words there. Basically resisting those 4 movements I just told you about. Now, the most comprehensive, well-developed core programs will have all 8 movements, or anti-movements as well, in their programming, in rotation, but with an emphasis on stabilization and strength of the core, being a solid object that can handle high loads and high forces. The stronger your core is, the less everything else has to work to actually perform what you're trying to perform. The stronger your core is, all movement starts in the core and branches out through your shoulders, your elbows, wrists, and fingers, your hips, your knees, ankles, toes, and your core is developed to protect and stabilize yourself to reduce the risk of injury. So with that being said, just stay tuned, and I'm going to release a video on all of these anti-rotational movement, anti-movement patterns that will help aid you in developing a strong core. Now, if you're, like I said, if you're a baseball thrower, MMA fighter, whatever, obviously you still need to train that. But in terms of health and longevity of your body and making your body rigid and solid and strong and stable, you need to do the resisting movements, not generating movements. Your abs can only build so much, so doing crunches is just a waste of time. Hanging leg raises doesn't even work your abs anyway, it works your hip flexors. So stay tuned and you'll see a real functional core program that I'll release to you guys. Thanks for watching. My name's Chris Hughes. This has been Immortal Strength. See you next time.